So how do companies like, let's say, Fair Work obligations shape the employer decision in making decisions around restructures and redundancies?
Yeah, well, Fair Work sets out the process we must follow, which is the consultation part,
Right.
which is the part that we get challenged 99% of the time with clients. But I've already made the decision that the redundancy is going to occur.
Yep.
Okay, whether you have or not, you still need to go through this consultation process, because if you do end up in Fair Work, and you said you always go worst case scenario, that's what we do too. We need to go worst case, work backwards from there, minimize the risk. Fair Work, unfortunately, don't focus on the matter as such. It's the process that led to the outcome. The outcome is the outcome, but did the employer follow that consultation process when it comes to redundancy? Did they consult? Did they offer support person? Did they give notice? Did they give an opportunity to respond? Did they document? Did they take them along the verbal but the written communication process as well? So that's a really big one. So yeah, that's number one, essentially, that you need to make sure you do. And you must show, employers must show fairness, and that they follow procedural fairness. And there's a genuine intent to make sure that this isn't the outcome that we're going to result in. But if it is, we've genuinely consulted, do we have any other redeployment opportunities? We've consulted, could this role go from part-time to full-time? We've consulted, okay, we know we're going to hire this new role in 3 months' time. Can we bring it forward? Can we merge it together? Are there any other jobs in the organisation? What are we doing with our contractors? Can we bring some of those things in-house? So that's what they want to see. They need to see the decision-making in the process that's led to the outcome. And it can't just be verbalising, well, Commissioner, we did ABC. They want to see it written. And that's like the things like the skills matrix, to show that we've assessed, okay, these 5 individuals are accountants. This is why it's led to accountant X being the one that's been made redundant. Yeah.
And that's where your documentation comes into it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That documentation of that process that you've spoken about. Is there a, obviously there's a process to the process of documentation. Is it just a matter of making sure your record keeping is just 100%, not slipping any, not making sure there's nothing that slips through the cracks?
Yes, really clean.
Yeah.
Notes, meeting notes that you can save in the employee's file. Communication letters, so the consultation letter, the notice to meet, the outcome letter, the termination, making sure that you're aware of the entitlements that you need to pay the individual, notice period, redundancy payment if that's applicable, anything else that's written down in law or policy or contracts or enterprise agreements that you need to follow. So getting all your back of house in order, so that you don't come to, well, hang on, you've paid me 2 weeks redundancy pay, I'm actually entitled to 6. Yeah. That's just something you don't want to avoid. And another thing a lot of organisations aren't aware of, a thing called associated entities. So if you're a business with 14 employees and under, and you're making a role redundant, generally redundancy pay is not payable. And I say generally because there are asterisks and there are certain T's and C's which are specific to situations, and I'm not going to go into all that. But from a general perspective, if you're a small business with 14 heads and under, there is no redundancy payment payable. However, if a director of this company is also a director of another business, say this company is an accounting firm and the other business is an electrical business, but you sit there, hang on, that's got nothing to do with it, I'm just a silent partner, or it's totally different. That doesn't matter. If there's an associated entity where the director of the company that's making these redundancies is a director of another company, say this company A that's being redundant accounting, there's 10 heads. This electrical company, there's another 10. 10 plus 10 equals 20. Yeah. Redundancy pay is payable. Wow. The client, you will say, hang on, but that's got nothing to do with it. I'm just a director on an entity, or it's my wife's business, or it doesn't matter in the eyes of the law. Yeah. So you need to make sure if that is applicable to you, because that will change whether redundancy is payable or not. And a lot of people can slip up on that.
Can imagine.
And we have that with clients, we'll say, is there any other associated entities? And they'll say no, because they think, well, hang on, but it's got nothing to do with it. It's only when it comes out, when it gets challenged. Well, that is an associated entity. So yeah, whether you like it or not, unfortunately it is.
It's the old scenario of asking the next question,
Yes.
next why to find out, yes, is it?
And a lot of the time in these processes, it's your own team that lets you down because they don't relay information. So us as like consultants, our clients don't always give us everything, not deliberately, they just don't think it's relevant. But the more information you can share, the more that we can reduce the risk.
Yeah, okay. Well said. An important one, I suppose, is things have changed probably over the last 5-6 years, even in making sure employers covering things like diversity, equality, inclusion principles. So how can employers ensure that all of that's covered during these sort of restructure sort of processes?
Yeah. It comes down, the main one comes down to making sure you're not connecting the individual to the redundancy, that there's no personality. A redundancy is because of the role, not because of the human that is connected to the role. If you bring personality, behavior, cultural, everything into it, that's when things can go south. So you need to focus on the role. So when you have conversations, it's looking like or the role that you hold,
Yep.
Not your role. The role that you hold is going to become redundant, or the role that you hold is redundant if it's the final outcome. It's about the role, not the individual. If you're focusing on the individual, it means it's not a genuine redundancy. It's probably a performance issue.
Yes.
Culture, performance, conduct, that line. So making sure you focus on the individual. If it is a bit grey, do that skills matrix because it's in black and white. It's not about the individual. These are the individuals. These are the skills that they've got. This is what the outcome that we need. So then you've got evidence to prove and remove any bias. It's factual. It's business. It's not a personal decision. It is a business outcome. And that's why it goes back to the very first question of what are the triggers for redundancy? Making sure that it is genuine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well said. Well said. We're going to go to questions very soon. So please, if you've got any questions and if you wanted to drop them into the Q&A, I'll be looking at those very soon. Just before we go to questions, we've got a quick poll we're going to quickly go to. So team, for our team that's online, if you can launch that poll for everybody, just to find out where you guys are. And if you've enjoyed episode 1, that's really important as well. So we might just quickly launch that as well to all you guys that are online. And again, as a quick thank you. One of the things I just wanted to make sure before we wrap up as well, Jenna, I know there's a couple of freebies out there to everybody that's joined us as a thank you as well. So please make sure I cover that off before we wrap up. But given we've only got about 5 to 7 minutes left, I just wanted to make sure that everyone's got the ability to throw some questions in there while we've got the poll out there as well, which is great. So if you've got any questions, please throw them in there. If you can complete that poll as well, that would be fantastic as well. All right, let me just quickly zip. I've got to make sure I'm looking at these the questions as well that are coming through. So Jenna, just before we go to any questions, I know we've mentioned a couple of times now in terms of, let's call it our next episode. And I think again, it's the way that you've done this has been quite clever. We're talking about compliance and policies, and I think just so everybody's online before we take off, before we wrap up in 5-10 minutes or so, just let you know that our next episode of Talking People will be on the 26th of November. It's going to be around compliance and policies again, pretty important for everybody to know as we sort of move into this end of year period. We're going to do it with a bit of a Christmas twist as well. So there's something that we want to share, which is going to be really important to everybody. employers in particular, ahead of anything to do with celebrations and Christmas parties. So please look out for that invitation. We're going to be sending that out probably over the next 7 days or so. So please look for that in your inbox. Now, let me just quickly go to, there's no questions. That's a good thing sometimes. I sometimes look at this and go, well, if people got questions, you can throw them in there, but maybe we've covered off everything that people wanted to know. Jenna, one thing before we look to wrap up, if there's no questions, and that's okay, we'll probably wrap up. Oh, look at that. One's just come through as we talk. I was going to say, how can people find you? So let's cover that off quickly as well. Again, now actually, how can people find you? What's the best way to connect with you if they've got more questions that come out of this as well? Because we'll have the recording very shortly as well to everybody to look at, review, work through together. So how can people find you?
For sure. Following this afternoon, everyone will receive an email from me. Feel free to reply if you want to organise a chat about restructures, redundancies, anything people related. That's offer. We'll lock in a time. LinkedIn and our website and all our contact details are over that. So, and you'll also receive through the email this afternoon some links to assets that's going to help you in relation to what we've discussed. So a really simple high-level employer's guide to redundancies and a checklist. So if you are going through these processes in your business and you want to self-manage, I encourage you to have a read and make sure that you're ticking all the boxes.
Well said, and I'm glad you mentioned those freebies because I would have forgotten about them.
All good. And there'll also be a recording in that email. So if you've anyone in your network that might benefit, feel free to share.
Yeah, brilliant. Question from Haley. Hello, Jenna. Taylor here. Thank you for always leading us to document. I want to ask, how do we manage a restructure role adjustment when systems are able to manage the work instead of the employee?
Yeah, so that would come down to a genuine redundancy, and the root cause of that would be because of technology. So that's very clear cut. If you've got that, you've essentially got your business case from that. So it's making sure that you follow the correct redundancy process, which is consultation, meet with the affected employee or employer, multiple employees, advise them that it's looking like this technology is going to make the role that they hold redundant. We're still going through the final stages of confirming that. We're consulting with you. We'll meet again in a couple of days, an opportunity to come back and ask any questions or thoughts that we might not have considered. You send them that letter, then you meet with them, you hear if they've got any avenues to make this decision not go ahead. And then if there's not, you deliver the unfortunate outcome that the role is going to become redundant. You decide if you're going to make the individual work out their notice period or not. Is there a handover process and what's payable? And that's all wrapped up in the final letter, which is the outcome, which is termination of employment.